All right, today we are going to be detectives. We're taking one single really dramatic verse from this ancient text and peeling back all its layers to see what's really going on inside. Let's start with our main piece of evidence. So here it is. It paints a pretty vivid picture, right? You've got merchants, you've got this immense wealth, some kind of terrifying judgment, and a crowd just watching from a distance, completely falling apart. It's cryptic, it's intense. It honestly feels like the final scene of some epic movie. But believe me, there is so much more going on here than just a dramatic image.
And that's our big question for today. What is this system they call Babylon? Who are these merchants really? And why are they weeping? To figure all this out, well, we've got to go back to the source.
And when I say source, we have to look at the original Greek language. The specific words that were chosen here are the first set of clues that unlock the entire meaning of this scene. So let's put this thing under the microscope.
First up, let's look at our main characters, the emporoi, or the merchants. Now, we're not just talking about people selling silks and spices here. The text makes it pretty clear that this term is also pointing its finger at spiritual profiteers. Think about people who are selling religion itself, things like forgiveness or special access to God or even social status. They basically turn faith into a commodity.
And how did they get so rich? The text uses this word pluteisontes, which means they became rich, but the key detail is how. The grammar here tells us their wealth came directly from this corrupt system. So they weren't just participating in the local economy, their entire fortune was built on this rotten foundation.
Now, look at their posture. They stand macrothen, afar off. This is so important. They aren't trying to help, they're not rushing in to save anything. No, they are deliberately keeping a safe distance, physically and emotionally separating themselves from the judgment that is absolutely hammering their source of income.
So why are they keeping their distance? It's because of the phobon to bosanismo, the fear of the torment. They are just terrified. But what kind of fear is this exactly? This one word is probably our biggest clue to what's going on in their heads.
So let's shift gears from the words themselves to the mindset they reveal. The fear and the sorrow that these merchants are showing. It's not what you might think. It's a very, very specific kind of grief, and it tells us everything we need to know about who they really are.
Here's the crucial point. They are experiencing conviction, but without repentance. They see the judgment. They totally get that the system they profited from is wrong and is being punished, and they are scared to death. But that terror, it never actually leads to a change of heart.
And this is a great way to see the difference. On the left, you have the merchants' selfish grief. They're crying because their profits are gone. Their influence is gone. They're afraid for themselves. But on the right, you have true repentance. That's being sorry for the sin itself and actually wanting to change. The merchants, they are stuck firmly on the left side of this chart.
Okay, so this whole posture of standing afar off out of fear, it's not unique to this one verse. The source material actually points to a striking parallel from another very famous scene of judgment, and it gives us an even deeper read on this very human reaction.
And check this out. The exact same Greek word, makrithen, is used to describe the crowd watching the crucifixion. It's incredible. In both scenes, you have people standing at a safe distance, watching a divine judgment unfold. And their motivation is identical. They are totally unwilling to be associated with the one being judged, whether it's a corrupt system or a crucified Messiah. It's this powerful, timeless echo of self-preservation.
All right, this brings us to the climax of the whole thing. A phrase that keeps popping up in this chapter is the shocking speed of this collapse. Everything the merchants built their lives on just vanishes in a flash.
1 hour. That is all it takes. An entire economic and religious empire, a system that probably felt permanent, all-powerful, and it's brought to nothing in about the time it takes to watch an episode of your favorite show. This isn't some slow decline, it's a sudden, catastrophic event.
So what does this 1 hour really represent? The source text connects it directly to the hour of the cross. In that single pivotal hour, the entire religious marketplace that the merchants controlled was judged and made obsolete. Think about it. The temple veil tore, which means no one had to pay for access to God anymore. The ultimate sacrifice was made, which ended the old temple economy. Just like that, in 1 hour, their entire business model was gone. Worthless.
So let's just put all the pieces of the story together. We've got these merchants who got rich by selling spirituality. When their whole system gets judged, they stand back,
terrified. But they're weeping for their lost money, not for their sins. Their reaction is this timeless portrait of self-interest, and it perfectly mirrors those who watch the cross from a safe distance, completely unwilling to be associated with judgment.
And that leaves us with a pretty challenging thought, doesn't it? This ancient story forces us to ask a very modern question. I mean, we all participate in systems, economic, social, even religious ones. So where is that line? At what point does just benefiting from a system make us complicit in its problems? Some to think about. Thanks for digging into this with me.